going back here with your fighters, and know that you had a couple of fighters that did fight last month, like Shinard Bunch. He had a fight there in Pennsylvania. That he was successful in, and you also had a big event that was in Las Vegas. There with one of your fighters there in the lightweight division, with Michel Rivera there against Frank Martin. And I know that, Michel Rivera came up short there against Frank Martin, but it looks like he's back up in good spirits to try to get back in the ring and kind of like get his mojo back there after having a bout there against Frank Martin. So any update there on Michel Rivera up to this particular point?
Well, Bunch is fighting in April 7th.
Okay.
Write it down. April 7th, Bunch, he will fight for the USBA title. So he deserves to have a title by now.
Yeah.
Rivera, he did probably, it was a mistake to take in short notice the fight, and the last minute you need to lose a lot of weight. I was not aware. When your wife, any wife, cheat on the husband is the last one to know. So I was the last one to know that you have issue with the weight. After the fight, I find out, and he claimed that he can do it at 35 with no issue because he was timing what happened, and he didn't have a good camp in that moment. So the next fight for him will be in 138 pounds. So like this, we know if he keep it 35 or he go to 40.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing was, like, he, had the previous bout that was at the Barclays Center there in October, before his fight against Frank Martin. But I guess, after, that bout that he had against Jerry Perez, I guess he, kind of like got back up to, a point where it was going to be like a little bit more for him to get down to 135 or the 135-pound limit for his bout against Frank Martin. So, maybe that's why he kind of like had mobility issues, because, I've seen a lot of times that, especially in those first rounds or so, he was, throwing a jab and things like that. But in a lot of cases, the foot movement wasn't necessarily there. And you kind of like see a stark difference between what Rivera was doing and what Frank Martin was doing. And I felt like Frank Martin was just...
Look, I don't want to take nothing away from Frank Martin. He's one of the best in 35. But sometimes you have a bad night in boxing. I can tell you because you have Bernard Hopkins. He lost his first fight, and then he come to be how many times he was the longest champion in 160. And he have many fighters that he lose one fight and then he come out to be a champion.
Yep, that's true. That's true. Yeah, Bernard Hopkins had the longest reigning middleweight reign there, while he was having his career at middleweight, and then eventually became undisputed champion with that win over Oscar De La Hoya, making him one of the legends out there in the sport, and recent inductee in the International Boxing Hall of Fame that we were both there to kind of like see them there inducted in the Hall of Fame.
And by the way, I need to rectify, because I need to say my dear friend Bernard Hopkins, because if no, he will see me, he will kill me if I just say that.
Yeah, he'll roast you if he hears like if you don't hear that, you know what I mean? So yeah, most definitely. One other fighter that I wanted to see if I could get an update on that scored a big win.
We have Sebastian Fundora, the Tower Inferno, 6'6", and 154. And the funny thing that Truman versus Spence, it being 154.
Yeah.
And if you want a title, the winner, we have it with Fundora. We're waiting for the winner, maybe. Who knows?
Wow. Yeah, that would definitely be a big bout, between the winner of Spence-Thurman and Sebastian Fundora there. Of course, Fundora, the interim WBC super welterweight champion. And yeah, he would definitely love a fight against one of those guys. I know that you also had Edwin De Los Santos that scored a big win last year. You're just trying to see, he hasn't been in since September. If there was like any update on him.
Uh, I'm waiting for BBC because sometimes we say that we are promoters. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's the network that they make the final decision that is coming with the money.
Right.
But I believe that he will have a great opportunity very soon, most likely in April, I would say.
Yeah, gotcha.
After March is it's a tough for boxing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good point that you do bring up there with the networks is like they are the ones that kind of like invest, a lot of effort and resources into making these fights or pretty much constructing these fight cards. You get like have the example with Showtime. It could be Showtime Championship Boxing or Showtime pay-per-view or Boxing After Dark, where you can have these cards with a lot of these fighters involved in them. So they kind of like pretty much control, hey, we could invest this much into your fighter being put into this fight, and if it feels like it's a good move, then yeah, it's like, hey, we'll take it, why not?
Yeah, that is correct. But let me tell you, I believe that PBC with Showtime is the leader today on the best fights. Every event, you will see out of 3, at least 1 or 2 great fights. And the other network, I believe that is not much, competition for the fights. I believe that PBC he put the best equitative fights that they very, very, I would say 60-40, 65-35, not too often. So when you sit and you see PBC fights and you have a great mind on Steven Espinoza, that he do very well. He put real fights.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I've been to a number of them, especially over the past 12 months or so, that have been, very great events, and they end up, kind of like constructing great fight cards, within all levels. So yeah, I think that they're kind of like pretty much in the lead as far as like having these, not just big fights but big events put together, where a lot of the fighters that are involved kind of like come together and make it a great event overall with many of the cards that they put together with that. Now, with that being said, bringing this here to a close, is there like anything else that you would like to add here before we roll out for this particular interview?
Do not miss Benavides versus Plan. Do not miss that one. I believe that it be the fight of the year. Remember that.
Oh, most definitely looking forward to that. But I mean, like you said, you have to, worked out a few things here and there in order to like properly schedule that bout. And like you said, in reference to, the NCAA tournament, that kind of like is a factor as far as like, when and where that fight takes place. So I'm kind of like, we'll wait until we get the official announcement for that. But, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And, whenever, they make
I will see you then.
Yeah, I'm going to be there. That is a fact.
Thank you very much.
There.
God bless you.
Here with the Boxing Source. And I definitely like that you taking the time here to spend it here with me to talk about your fighters, and we'll definitely check back with you often here in 2023.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.